Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where it is that you are watching from. Welcome back to Facing Reality. It's me, January, and today we are continuing the trial of Mark Redwine. One of the things that's kind of bothered me is, the infamous pictures, and I still am torn on whether or not that was blackmail. That was what he likes to do in his free time. Exactly what it is, I'm not quite sure. So I was kind of going back through some of the exhibits that the people had. Again, the link to that is in the description down below. And here's this photo. And this is a picture of his bathroom. On the kitchen sink, there are two, poker chips. So I'm wondering if, could he have had like a gambling debt or something? I don't know, kind of strange. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to get right into it. Of course, Sophie's in the back, so if you hear that, I apologize. She's a 17-year-old Chihuahua that I inherited when my grandmother passed away, and bless her heart, we love her to death with all of her little noises that she makes. Anyway, go for yourself and take a look. Grab that link out of the description, when this live is over, and go take a look at some of these evidence photos. I don't know. I'm so curious. Okay. So today on the trial, what we're going to listen to or watch is, Ron Armstrong. So Ron Armstrong was a former contractor of Mark Redwine. I believe he's going to come on there to say, yes, he did go turn in his time and do his payroll like he said he did that morning. And then we're also going to hear from Carrie Cochrane. She is the defendant's neighbor. So she was a neighbor of Mark Redwine. She said that she saw his exterior light on, his porch light on, and then around like 2 something in the morning, it gets turned off. Now, why is that crucial? Because that night is the night that Dylan is reported missing. He's not been seen, allegedly, pardon me, all day long and all night long. And so why would you turn your porch light off if your 13-year-old son is missing? Here we go, guys. Again, we are watching this straight from YouTube, straight from the Law and Crime channel. By all means, please go like and subscribe to their page. The link is down below to go to their playlist.
Armstrong, come up to the witness stand.
I just want to say thank you, Gail, for being here today.
And if I could have you raise your right hand before you sit down. Do you solemnly swear or affirm, under penalty of perjury, the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Have a seat, please. Make sure you speak up and talk into the microphone. Go ahead, Mr. Champagne.
Thank you, Judge.
I think it's down. If you speak up, it's good enough.
Better.
You just got to be pointing towards it.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Mr. Armstrong.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Can you state your name and spell your name for the record, please?
Yeah, Ronald G. Armstrong.
How do you spell your last name?
Armstrong.
Okay. And if you have any trouble with any of my questions or hearing me, anything like that, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
Great. Tell us just a little bit about yourself, sir. Where are you from?
Twin Falls, Idaho.
How long you've lived in this area?
This area, about 18 years, 20 years, I think.
Okay. And what kind of work do you do?
I was a general contractor, but I'm retired now.
Okay. And were you working as a general contractor in 2012, 2011, that time period?
Yeah.
What was the name of your company?
RAC Restoration Services, Inc.
Okay. I want to focus you in now on our case. Did you take a job relating to work with Mark Redwine?
Yes, I did.
And do you remember the address of the home?
No, I don't.
Okay. Was it in the Vallecito area, to the best of your memory?
Yes.
Okay. And tell us the case.
Okay, real quick. So I was wrong. I don't think this is a worker. This may have been the contractor who did work on Mark's home, because remember, they found blood in multiple places, and that flooring and stuff was new. They had restored a large portion of the home. And so my apologies. Again, this took place, 10, 11, 12, something years ago. So my apologies.
Tell us about the nature of that work.
Well, his house had caught on fire, so we completely rebuilt it back up. The structure was still good, but we had to do a lot of the restoration on the smoke damage and fire damage to it. And that's basically what we, yes.
I've got exhibit number 193, page 2. Counsel, I'm going to approach, if I may, Judge.
You may. So this is the building permit or the CO?
Second page, which is the building permit.
Oh, okay.
193.
Yeah.
And sir, I'm just directing your attention to the top corner there. Does that refresh your recollection as to the address?
I'm still not sure of the new address. I had so many jobs going on at the time, I
Okay.
can't remember everything.
But you reviewed this document, and it states, well, do you remember the name of the customer or who was seeking the permit?
Should have been Mark Redwine.
Okay, is that what you saw on this document?
Yeah,
Okay. And then a list of the address below, is that correct?
I think so. I didn't look at it in detail.
Okay. We'll get there in a second. You said that the house had caught fire, and that you did the interior work to make it livable again. Is that correct?
We did some exterior work too. We had to take off part of the roof, trusses and stuff.
Okay.
So we did an extensive rework of the house.
Okay. And was replacing the floor a part of that task, part of the job? And do you recall being contacted by law enforcement about this case?
No, I don't.
Do you recall being asked if you still had the invoice related to the flooring materials?
I was asked by your team.
Okay. And were you able to find that receipt or the invoice, excuse me?
Yeah, it's right there in the file.
Okay. Have you had a chance to review that?
I vaguely over the last couple of years.
Okay. And how did you find this invoice? Meaning, like, was it in your files?
My wife probably found it somewhere. I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you keep materials like this related to the job and work that you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
For 7 years anyway.
Okay. Was that part of your regular business activities to keep these invoices?
Yes.
And were you a part of the team that was in charge of keeping these records?
Yes. I was the owner.
Okay. At this point, Judge, I'd like to approach with Exhibit 191.
All right.
So I'm handing you a copy of what's been marked as Exhibit number 191. Do you recognize it?
Yeah, that's the materials I picked up for the hardwood floor.
For Mark Redwine's house?
Yes.
It's funny to me because for one, his wife found it. That's why I kind of chuckled. But you know, he's sitting up there, and I wonder how much relevancy they are told, right? So that you've got the guy that ran the cameras at the airport who's like, why am I here? Kind of. I mean, that's almost the vibe they get up there. Like this gentleman, Mr. Armstrong, is sitting up there and he just kind of feels, I get the sense that he feels like, why am I here? Like, what is the point in this? And it's extremely relevant if he's knowledgeable about, you know, the case and what's going on. So I'm curious because imagine that you lay somebody's flooring, you restore their home, and then 9-10 years later, you're getting called to testify because the dude killed his son. What? Crazy. Okay, sorry. I won't interrupt.
That's from Lumber Liquidators in Albuquerque.
And is there a signature on that document?
Yes, sir. It's mine.
That's your signature?
Yes.
Okay. And is this document in the same or substantially the same condition as when you originally received it and filed it?
What's that?
Is this document in the same condition as when you filed it?
I believe so.
At this point, we'd move to admit number 191.
Mr. Moran? Submitted.
Okay. Permission to publish to the jury?
Sure.
Why are you not investing in tax liens? No, seriously. Why are you not investing into one of the
Bear with us. We're just going to put this up on the big screen TV. Behind you, I'm showing the exhibit that you have in front of you. When you look down at the exhibit or up on the screen, does it show the name of your company on this invoice?
Yes, RAC Restoration Services.
Okay, and that's in the top left corner of the document?
Yes.
And as I look down through the document, does it have a date across from your, I'm sorry, it's actually on the right side of the document. Document date, you see that?
Document date is 12/2/2010.
Okay, and is that when you, in fact, receive or purchase these materials, receive this invoice?
Probably. Yes.
And as we scroll down, it says item product, and it says 10 red oak. What is that?
What is it? Where is it?
Sorry, that's the first product on the invoice section.
It's redwood oak, 3 by 2 1/4 inch hardwood floor.
Okay. And is that the flooring that you actually installed in Mark Redwine's home?
I saw the. Excuse me. What was that?
Is that the flooring that you actually installed at Mark Redwine's house?
Myself and my crew.
Okay. And do you remember doing the job?
Yes.
As we look down a little farther at the bottom there, that's your signature as you've described it?
Yes, it is.
When you finish a job like this, well, let me step back. When you're working a job like this, is the home habitable? Are people allowed to live in the house?
Like what now? I can barely hear you.
Is the home habitable when you're doing this type of a project?
No.
And what is the name of that document?
It's called a certificate of occupancy.
And have you, in fact,
Okay.
sir, what is that document in front of you?
It's a certificate of occupancy, which is the which allows the owner to move back into the property because it's been rebuilt.
And we're moving to admit Exhibit 193 at this point, Your Honor.
Mr. Marin? Admitted.
What is the date on the certificate of occupancy, sir?
Looks like April 22nd, 2011
And the address?
is 2343 County Road 500,
And the owner of that address?
Mark Redwine.
Thank you. No further questions for this witness.
Any cross?
Here we go with cross-examination. He's going to be like, is it true that when you were 5, you played with toys in the sandbox? All the irrelevant crap.
Just one more moment. I think that we're all in agreement and this gentleman is asking. Just a little clarification. Good afternoon, sir. My name is John Moran. I represent Mr. Redwine. The work that you did on the house was complete before the certificate of occupancy was signed. Is that right?
Yes.
And there was actually some time that the house would have been habitable, but the certificate just was not made available by the county. Is that right?
I can't understand you. I'm sorry.
You're not the first. The certificate of occupancy was provided after the house was livable.
I can't say that, but
Okay. Things like the fan isn't properly installed, light switches on the wrong side of the door, that kind of stuff.
oh yeah,
So not anything that would make the place dangerous or unlivable.
right.
At what point was the house? Okay. And so your authorization to proceed with work, that was signed on April 14th, 2010. Do you recall?
What was that question?
The authorization to proceed with work, that's a document you have your customers sign, right?
Yes, before we start the work.
And that document was signed on April 14th, 2010, right?
I'm not sure.
Sir, would it refresh your recollection to look at your contract?
What was that?
Would it refresh your recollection to look at your authorization?
Sure.
May I approach?
You may.
See, I told you, irrelevant stuff.
Okay, that's my,
And it's April of 2010, correct?
I don't know.
Next to your signature,
Yeah,
sir?
April, or 4/14/10.
Thank you. Did your work take years to complete at that house?
No.
How long after the authorization to proceed with work did your job take on this house?
Sometime before the certificate of occupancy.
Okay, it's
I'm not
been a
sure.
while. All right, I'll leave it at that, sir. Thank you. One more. This was not the sort of project that would have taken months and months and months and months after the authorization to proceed.
Next witness.
People could call Carrie Cochrane to the stand.
Under penalty of perjury, the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And make sure you speak into the microphone. Have a seat.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Please introduce yourself to the jury.
I am Carrie Jean Cochrane. I'm 60 years old. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. I am completely deaf. I have one cochlear implant on the right side. Nothing here.
And if we speak slowly and into the microphone,
Yes.
is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay. If at any time you can't understand me or have trouble, please let me know.
Will do.
Where do you currently live?
Where did I live?
Where do you live now?
I live now below Tucson, Arizona,
How long have you lived there?
since 2016
Okay. And where did you live before that?
in Vallecito.
Okay. And how long did you live in Vallecito?
I moved there in 2002, and I left in 2016.
What was your address when you lived there?
2400 County.
Okay, just to pause really quick. Can we appreciate how beautiful this woman's hair is? Ah, like I love it. This is the neighbor of Mark Redwine, and I believe she is going to testify to the fact that that light was turned off when it shouldn't have been. And Gail, just to kind of address chat down there. Yes, girl, I saw that letter from the laundries, dirty laundries. She said, if you ever need to hide a body, if you hate my guts, I'll get new guts. Like, I don't know. I think they were kind of a...
How far away from Mark Redwine's house did you live?
About 100 yards, maybe more.
Okay. Could you see his house from your house?
Yes.
Could you see his house while you were inside your house?
Yes.
Describe that.
I could see it.
Okay. Was it a fairly clear sight line, or were there a lot of trees between the two?
In the summer, there were some bushes, but I could always basically see that front stoop or porch.
Okay. Could you see his house specifically from your bedroom?
Yes.
I want to turn your attention to the night of November 18th, 2012. Do you remember that night?
Yes, I do.
Was there anything unusual that night regarding Mark Redwine's house?
Only that. I got up around 2 o'clock in the morning, used the bathroom, came back. Sometimes I have a tendency to peek out the window, and I noticed the porch light was on, and it was noticeable just because it had been dark for, it felt like months. He'd been gone for a while, and it was completely dark.
So Mark had been gone. Your understanding was that he was not living in the house or at the house?
No, it just seemed nobody was there.
For months.
Completely dark, and it is very dark out there.
You know that it was 2 a.m.
There is I don't have light in my room, but the room across the hall where my bathroom is, I kept a digital clock that's very visible, so sometimes I would glance at it. And when I went back into the room and noticed the light was on, I just went and looked back to see what time it was, and that's why I knew it was around 2 o'clock.
Okay. And then you said when you got up in the morning, you said it was around 6:30 or 7 a.m.
Yes.
And what did you notice about the light?
It was just off.
Do you remember being contacted by law enforcement back in 2012 about this topic?
Yes.
And do you recall getting a report to the same effect you've described today?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. I have no further questions for you.
Thank you.
Any cross?
Good afternoon, Ms. Cochrane.
Good afternoon.
I've been made aware that it's hard to hear me, so please let me know.
I will do that.
Thank you. And the microphone does help, but if I...
Yes, it does.
Okay, sweet. You are friends with Elaine Hall, correct?
Yes, we were acquaintances, yes.
And when we reached out to you to speak about seeing the light on, you refused to speak with us, correct?
Yes.
What you informed us is that you would not speak with defense counsel, so we weren't able to take photographs from your house, right?
I
do want to go over photographs that law enforcement took, and if I might approach you on it, I'll provide the witness with the defense exhibits 1136 through 1144.
Thank you, Ms. Moreno.
I would give you my copy, but I can't see that far.
I understand. It's fine. And Judge, we'll stipulate to admission of these photographs. That's fine.
Okay. Did you want to admit it then, Mr. Moran? All right. 1136 through, 1144.
So, Ms. Cochrane, it might make sense to have you, can you hear me?
So far.
Great. If you would, take a look through these just briefly so you can be acquainted with them as I go through them. And for the record, what I have here is Defense Exhibit 1136, 1136.
1138?
No.
All right. 1138 is not admitted.
What 1138 was repetitive.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Go ahead.
Ms. Cochrane, were you aware law enforcement was there? Were you still living at Vallecito when these photographs were taken January 5th, 2020?
2020?
Yes, ma'am.
I was not there in 2020.
I see. So law enforcement did not need to approach you to ask if they could take these photographs?
No,
I see. Is this, referring here to Defense Exhibit 1136, that's the one on the top, hopefully. Does this photograph look familiar? Are you familiar with the scene depicted in this image? And this is facing...
House that was right next door to me in a lot. I'm here.
And I think that that Chevrolet parked there is a law enforcement vehicle. But otherwise, you recognize this scene?
Yes.
Okay. Permission to publish?
Yes. And you have permission to publish all of these since they've been admitted.
I would have done better when everyone was using feather pens. Thank you. Tech-savvy people are probably thinking I have too many windows open. At any rate, so this is what we were just discussing, fair?
Yes.
And this is the view from essentially out in front of your house, facing towards Mr. Redwine's house, correct?
Yes.
And looker's right. So as you look down the road, his house will be on the right.
I'm here. Down there. He's on this side, on the right. Yes.
Thank you. And then if I could have you take a look at 1137. This is there's one in front of you as well, whichever you prefer to look at. So this is your old place?
Yes.
Okay. And your bedroom window is the window that's on the left side of the house?
Far side, yes.
Correct. Okay, so north side. And then, not having a chance to speak with you, I didn't get to discuss 1139 with you beforehand, but this is an image that was provided to us by the prosecution.
Okay, I didn't get that last part.
This is an image provided to us by the prosecution.
Okay.
Yes. One of the law enforcement officials here took this photograph. Can you see that sort of through the trees there? Can you make out with this image that that's
All
Mr. Redwine's house?
Yeah, it was kind of a grove.
Between your house and Mr. Redwine's?
Okay, I didn't get that last part.
Okay, let me pull up. I want to see what he's looking at. Did he say a number and I missed it? Hang on. Because I pulled up. Here's the defense. Let's see. Bear with me just a second. Let me see if I can see what they're looking at. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. I don't know what happened. What these are. I think it's interesting she refused to speak with them. She must have known he was weird. I wonder if she saw him doing weird stuff from her window. Let's see. Hang on. Okay, they have a lot of exhibits. Okay, I'm going to let it play, and then we'll see if I can't find them later. She kind of is giving us a decent view.
so to speak, on the side of his house.
Okay. And can you see that that's his green paint on the house and black roof? If you look through the trees there.
I think this is kind of a deceptive photograph because of where my house was, you would have to be down there kind of on the side where he was. And yes, but you would have to be in towards that grove.
Okay.
I was far enough out that I could see. That's close to the grove that was, you know, kind of beside him, but yet set back.
Okay. I'll let the law enforcement official know you think this is deceptive. If I could have one.
You can see an outline, yeah, but it wasn't that crowded. That view was not that crowded to me where I was.
I was worried to go in your yard. I didn't take it, but
Okay.
it's trees that you're generally familiar with what we're looking at.
Okay.
1140, please. And do you recognize this?
Yes, that's my house. That's my bedroom.
So your bedroom window is captured in the photograph. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the window that you would have looked out?
Well, and that's true because her view would be different because if you think about it, if she's up, you know, in her kitchen or in a, you know, a bedroom that's up a little bit, and you've got to be right at that same angle as the window, you know, as the height of the woman standing there looking to be able to get it. So, you know, I appreciate that she's saying, hey, that's not exactly how it looks, you know, from my home.
Yes.
Okay. And then again, there's sort of off in the distance, off on the right, that's Mr. Redwine.
I can't really say that, you know.
Long enough that you would have an opportunity to observe the 36-inch stickers on his front door?
Stickers on his front door.
Yes, ma'am.
I do not remember any stickers on his front door
And
before.
you
I didn't
would
look
agree
that way
that
very
the
often. I didn't look that way very. I don't remember any stickers on his front door.
Okay, yeah, stop, defense, because what he's trying to say is that there's no way that she could have seen that far. This is out in the woods, in the mountainous terrain, in the dark. You would be able to see a light. She's not saying, I could see through his window and into him sitting on the toilet. No, she's not saying that. She's saying, I saw the light because he had been gone and he had it off. When he was gone doing his truck driving job, he had it off. And I'm sure in the woods out there in the mountains, you would be able to see the damn light. Anyway, the defense makes me angry sometimes.